Hello everyone, my name is Priyanka, Assistant Professor in IIMT College of Management. Our today's topic is demand and determinants of demand. Let's have a look of demand. So, learning objective of today's session is meaning of demand, types of demand, and then we will discuss the determinants or factors affecting the demand, law of demand, and what are the exceptions to the law of demand and demand schedule and the curve. Let's have a look. What is demand? So, demand refers to the quantity of a good or services that consumers are willing and able to purchase at various prices during a specific period of time. So, demand only creates when there is a quantity of demanded and purchases at a various prices during a specific period of time. It represents the desire or need of a product or services backed by the ability to pay for it. Demand creates the utility, and only demands become the effective demand when there is the desire or need for a product and there is ability to pay for it, and if the consumer is willing to buy it. If all these factors is present, then it is called the demand. Generally speaking, there is market demand and aggregate demand. Market demand and aggregate demand. Market demand, what is market demand? So market demand, it is the total quantity demanded by all the consumer in a market. If there are A and B consumer, then the total demand by the A plus B is will be market demand, or the aggregate of the demanded by the consumer in a market at a given period of time. Aggregate demand is the total demand for all goods and services in an economy. All right. Next is types of demand. What are the types of demand? So there are few different types of demand that are as follow. First is price demand. Price demand, as its name suggests, the quantities of a goods or services that consumer will buy at a price given time, considering the other things remain constant. Only the customer at which price the product will be demanded by the consumer is called the price demand. And what is income demand? It refers to various types of quantities of goods or services that a consumer will buy at different stages of income. At different income, the quantity demanded by the consumer is called the income demand, and the other things remain constant. Gross demand, it is the product's demand that doesn't depend on its own cost but depends on the cost of other related commodities. For example, tea and coffee. For example, here we will include the tea and coffee, and if the price of the coffee will increase, then the demand of the tea will be increased. This is called the gross demand. I hope it is clear. Next is direct demand. When goods or services satisfy an individual wants directly. When we consume the goods directly, this is known as direct demand. Derived demand or indirect demand, the goods or services demanded or needed for manufacturing the goods and satisfying the consumer indirectly is known as derived goods. When the manufacturer demand any commodity, this for the further consumption, for the further manufacturing the goods, or they convert the raw material into the finished goods, it is called the derived demands or indirect demands, or the demand by the manufacturer. Joint demand, to produce a product, there are many things that are related to each other. For example, to produce bread, if we want to produce the bread, then we need the oven, we need the fuel, we need the flour, and many more things. So the demand for other additional things to produce a product is known as joint demand. We want to produce only bread, but we are demanding other things, or we are creating the demand for the flour, for the oven, for the fuel, and many more things. This is called the joint demand. Next is composite demand. A composite demand can be described when goods and services are utilized for more than one cause. Like coal, like we can say milk, we are demanding the milk. We can directly consume it. We can make a curd from that milk. We can make the sweets from that milk. So this is called the composite demand. I hope it is clear. Next topic is factors affecting the demand. what are the various factors or what are the determinants that affect the demand? That affect means what are the various factors by which the demand may be increased or the demand may be decreased. So first is the price of the goods or services. This is the most fundamental factor affecting demand. It is the price of goods or services itself. ये क्या है? What is this? It is the price of a product that may increase the demand of the product or may decrease the demand of the product, and vice versa, following the law of demand. This is called the also law of demand. By considering other factors the constant, but only consider the price of the product, and by changing in the price of the product, our demand fluctuate. It is called the law of demand. Next is income. Next other factor that affect the demand is income. Consumer income plays a significant role in determining the demand. As income level rises, when our income level rises, then consumer typically have more purchasing power and increase the demand for the most goods and services. Conversely, a decrease in income can lead to decrease in demand. If our income become decreased, then our quantity demanded also decreases. Next is consumer preferences and tastes. If the consumer changes in consumer preference and taste, it leads to shift in the demand. Then the demand curve shifts. Products that become more fashionable or trendy may see an increase in demand. We already see if there is a trend of the any particular product, then its demand become increase. While those that fall out of favor may experience a decrease in the demand. If the trend goes out, then the demand become fall. Next is price of related goods. It includes the substitute goods and the complementary goods. It includes the substitute goods and it includes the complementary goods, or we say it is the cross goods. What are substitute goods? The price of substitute goods affect the demand. Substitute goods are the products that can be utilized as alternatives to each other. Best example is tea or coffee. These both products are the alternatives of each other. If the prices of coffee increases, the demand for tea may increase. This is called the substitute goods. And vice versa. If the price of tea increases, then the demand of coffee will be increases. And there is a positive relation between them. There is a positive relation between the substitute goods. Next is complementary goods. Complementary goods or the price of complementary goods also affect the demand. Complementary goods are the products that are used together, like car and petrol. Car and petrol. Let's have a look. If the petrol prices increases, then our car demand will be decreases. If our product is car and our complementary product is petrol, if the price of petrol become high, then the demand of our car will be decreased. And there is a negative relation between the complementary goods. Another example is if the price of smartphone decreases, then the demand for smartphone cases may increase. If the price of smartphone decrease, if the prices of smartphone fall down, then the smartphone cases may increase. Expectations of the consumer also affect the demand. How? The consumer expectations about future prices. If we know that particular product will become cheaper in the future, then we will demand in future also, not for today. Income level or economic condition can influence current demand. For example, if consumer anticipate that the price of product will decrease in future, if we comes to know that the price of car will decrease in future, then they may delay their purchases and leading to decrease in the current demand. Then we will not demand the car at present time, but we will demand the car in future time when the prices will be fall. Oh, so all these were the determinants that affect the demand. Our next topic is law of demand. What is law of demand? So, law of demand states that the quantity demanded of a good shows an inverse relationship with the price of goods when other factors are constant or ceteris paribus. When the other factors, the factor that we discussed previously, if they remains constant, what are the factors? The income level of the consumers, the taste and preference of the consumers, or the future expectations of the consumer, and the cross products demand. If all these factors are constant, only we consider the price of goods. So, by the changes in the price of goods, the quantity demanded changes. It is called the law of demand. Let's have a look. The law of demand states that the quantity demanded of a good shows an inverse relationship with the price of goods. There is an inverse relationship in the with the price and the quantity demanded. How it is? If the prices will increase, if the prices will increase, then the if the prices will increase, then the demand will be decrease. If the prices will increase, if prices will increase, then the demand will be decrease. Then demand will be decrease, and vice versa. If the price will decrease, then demand will be increase. It means that as the price increases, demand decreases. And the law of demand says that a higher price leads to a lower quantity demanded. If the prices will be higher, then the quantity demanded by the consumer will be lower. Demand curves and demand schedule are the tools used to summarize the relationship between quantity demanded and the prices. Both these are the tools that used to summarize the relationship between the quantity demanded and the price. But there are some exceptions to the law of demand. First is given goods and second is Veblen goods. Given goods are the inferior goods that lay close substitute that do not have any substitute that represent a large portion of consumers' income. Okay, so given goods, it violates the law of demand because the prices of these goods increase and with the increase in the quantity demanded. It do not follow the law of demand because if the prices of these goods increases with the quantity demanded will also increase. Next is Veblen goods. Veblen goods are the status symbol goods. It also violates the law of demand. The examples of Veblen goods are the luxury cars, expensive wines, and designer clothes, or we can say diamond, sports car. All these are the examples of the Veblen goods. If the prices of these products will increase, then the demand will also increase. So, these two are the exceptions to the law of demand. Next topic is demand schedule. A table or the tabular representation of the quantity of product that consumer will buy at different prices. The table usually has two columns. The first column lists the prices and the right column lists the quantity demanded. So the tabular representation of the price and quantity demanded is called the demand schedule. And what is the demand curve? The graphical representation of the quantity of a product and the consumers buying the products at different prices is called the demand curve. So the demand curve is graphically representation of demand schedule. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.